Welcome, guys, to the MMOs.com podcast, episode 107. Altai, joined this week by
Omer. And we have a fun podcast as usual this week, and obviously a lot's been happening this last week, namely E3. Even though there haven't been too many MMO stuff at E3, there's been a couple things we want to talk about MMO related, but we got to talk about E3, and we got to start off with that weekly raid. So Aaron, take it away.
And very timely, the weekly raid is about E3. So the title I went with is, what are you most excited for from E3? I left it open. It doesn't have to be MMO related technically, though some of mine are. So Omar, I know you've been watching these live on Twitch. I caught the Sony one with you guys, and I just had to read about on the rest. So I'll start with you then. What are you most excited for, and what you think of E3 this year?
I think like stuff like Twitch kind of makes watching E3 a lot of fun. The Twitch chat makes it quite entertaining, and also like E3 viewing parties with your friends on stuff like Discord is a lot of fun too. I actually ended up watching, I believe all of them. I watched Bethesda, Microsoft, Sony. I didn't see Nintendo one, but I'm pretty sure I saw like everything else, and it was pretty fun to watch, namely because it really is a show, right? Like, even if you're not too interested in the games, because I don't play too many console games, I still enjoyed watching all the presentations. I mean, I think Anthem is pretty interesting because it's really one of the only MMO-esque titles they released. Well, they didn't really, they're showing off, kind of like an answer to Destiny from Spyware. But one thing I thought was really funny is worth mentioning. There was a scene at the Microsoft one right at the beginning, after they talked about the Xbox One X being the most powerful console ever. There was a scene like when they showed off like, we're going to do a world reveal for like Forza, this racing game, but at the same time we're going to do a world reveal for a brand new Porsche. I'm like, who cares? Like they showed off a Porsche, like a new 2018 911 GT Turbo X 911, amazing, super drift, mega booster.
That's just
Porsche.
Rude, honestly.
And it's like, yeah, I'm going to go order my Xbox One X, going to pre-order the Forza. Oh, then I'll pre-order one of those $200,000 Porsches too, right? Like, it's so like, I get it, it's a racing game, but like I don't see how that audience is gonna like be interested like in buying a car.
I do. I mean, I feel like the average Xbox bro, right, is also the guy who's got like the poster of the Ferrari in his bedroom. Like, you know how some guys have like pictures of girls, like bikini models, and some people have like cars, right, and they jack off to the cars they want. So
yeah, they jack off, obviously. So
I think there's some cross-play there. I wouldn't be surprised.
But it's a video game event. I mean, you're showing off like a mega luxury. I get there was a big event, right? Obviously, to the car industry, people that follow cars are mega interested in seeing that new Porsche, right? But I don't know if that overlaps super well with Xbox, which I thought was kind of fun. Luckily, they didn't like drag it on too long. Yeah. They're telling me about the cylinders and stuff. I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know cars, right? But like, actually, what was really cool about Forza 7, which I don't really like racing games outside of Mario Kart and like Diddy Kong Racing and like these cartoony racing games, but it was running at 4K FPS at 4K resolution at 60 FPS, which is pretty badass, which is pretty cool. Wow. But yeah, the video you're seeing in the background though is Anthem, and this is like the only MMOs game.
So for me, I didn't catch this one live. I did hear the name Anthem, and I did see the slogan like by people on Reddit that this was like their answer to Destiny, and so this is my first time seeing this trailer. This is already one for me. This beat Destiny already. You know, Destiny's cool sci-fi, but this has that like punk feel, like where it's like it's like dirty like sci-fi. You know, like everything is dirty. It's kind of grungy. So I really like the aesthetic.
When it goes outside town, I think it looks gorgeous. You see some of the actual gameplay. Like right now, they're just kind of showing off like walking in town, but you see the gameplay. It looks really cool actually, and it's like this co-op game, kind of like Destiny as well. Obviously, they're not going to be using the term MMO. I guess probably the same reason why Destiny doesn't use that term. There's clearly some MMO-esque elements into it. I don't want to dive too much to what an MMO is exactly, because there was this giant discussion again on our MMORPG about if Warframe is an MMORPG and what is an MMO exactly. And this circle jerk, like people always are at each other's throats over what an MMO is and isn't. But this is one of the only MMO-esque games that were shown off that's actually new at E3. So it's definitely something to get excited about. And look at this seamless, like this large world. Just the graphics look gorgeous, and when you see the combat, it looks pretty badass too.
Yeah, this guy's just kind of landing on this planet right now. Pretty quick, pretty stark difference between the town he was just in and like this this jungle. I'm not exactly sure. Okay, he finally landed, so I'll get to see some gameplay while this is going. But yeah, there were, like Omar, you said, there was not that many MMORPGs specifically, at least new announcements, but there were a few. Let's call it relaunches. Black Desert is going to be an Xbox exclusive, I suppose, and they showed some trailer for that. And that one really interested me. Actually, on the weekly raid, one of my two main, interesting things from E3 was the BDO Xbox launch. Not because I have an Xbox or I'm going to play on an Xbox, but I want to see if they can actually get it to run smoothly on an Xbox, because Black Desert, it does chug when you're in a busy area like in town and everything is loading. So I want to see if they can optimize it for a console. If they can, and remember, BDO guys, I think the best looking MMORPG right now. So if that can look, if that can run on Xbox, then I think we've really come a long way. Consoles have come a longer way than like PCs have in that case.
And Black Desert is still getting a crazy number of players on Steam. There's about 16,300 concurrent users on Steam right now. 24-hour peak of 17,700. It's really maintaining that boost, that big momentum from its first launch. I mean, it peaked at 21,000, but it's still getting 17,000 a day peak, which is amazing. Black Desert has been a tremendous runaway success. And honestly, because Black Desert did so well, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more buy-to-play MMORPGs from Asia launching in America in the next few years, because, people are resident. They're okay with spending money on their game, and there's this perception that if you have a buy-to-play game, it's less pay to win. Even though obviously there are some elements of BDO you can pay for advantages, but I think we're going to see more MMORPGs. I mean, there's actually one game already said they're going to be paid buy to play in America and free to play in Asia. We'll talk a bit more about that later. But it's on the console development side, it's always easier, I think, to make these games run well on console. Obviously, I mean, are they going to be cross-platform compatible? 'Cause I'm not sure if they are.
They haven't announced that, but I honestly, first of all, there's no reason that it couldn't be, because the combat is very console-esque in BDO.
Yeah.
But the problem
is
is
on Microsoft platforms.
They're both on, it's either Windows or Xbox. But here's the thing. Everybody is complaining about the servers in BDO. You got on Reddit and stuff. Personally, I haven't done any PvP yet, right? I'm level 50. I'm doing like the CP and energy stuff right now, like the questing. And I do get rubber bands sometimes, but I'm not sure if that's because of my ping from here in Turkey to play on the North American server, or if it's actual servers. For PvE, so far the lag has not affected me at all. Even though I do rubber band sometimes, it's not a big deal. But I definitely can see how in PvP, that would kind of ruin the fight, especially like if you lose,
Oh, definitely.
And fun fact, guys, I got PK'd. I was very excited, actually. I was killing some catfish or something.
Great grind spot. Great. The density of monsters in the catfish spot are beautiful. That's like one of the best grind spots.
Yeah, and I actually got there when the quest took me there, so I am doing all the quests that I can. But anyway, I was killing them, right? And apparently some other guy was roping them, like roping the mobs, like chaining the mobs. And so he got this huge group of mobs ready for me, and I just kind of jumped in and took it from him. And I guess he didn't like that, so he just killed me. He camped me. He killed me like 4 times. I had to switch channels, so it was kind of fun. I haven't had that experience in a long time, where the threat was another player. So it really engaged me to the world. I had to look out for this guy. I had to change server. So that was fun.
I kind of wish I got PK'd as well, because that didn't really happen to me yet. Because it does make you realize you're playing an MMO. And actually, one of the most popular topics on RMRPG this week was like Black Desert Online is a single player game with like a persistent chat. And for the most part, when you play BDO, unless you're doing node wars like in the late game, you're already like very high level, you've already grinded all the gear you need to PvP. Unless you're doing node wars, you're honestly playing for the most part a single player game, because it doesn't make sense to party with other people for your grinding. You're grinding solo anyway. So the fact that you actually have to deal with a PK makes it, realize it's an MMO, which is definitely a good feeling though. Even though obviously it's a setback, you have to go back to your grind spot. So it's definitely inconvenience you to a degree, but again, it makes you appreciate the fact it's actually in an MMORPG.
Yeah, I was excited. I mean, it was inconvenient for me, but it's still something I liked. I hope more games remember to do that, where you should have some fear of other people. It should be an exciting moment when you meet somebody in the open world in a game. Is he a friend? Is he a foe? What does he have to offer me? Is he going to do something to me? So I do miss that feeling, and I'm glad BDO has that.
In fact, the amount of overall interaction between players is so low. I mean, I've been playing a lot of quite a bit of Final Fantasy 14 in order to catch up to Stormblood content. I mean, I finally started really sitting down and playing, and I've played like over 10 hours of story content. So I was way behind. I'm like, I'm in Heaven's Sword now, doing some content over there. But like every time you do a dungeon, like you'll say hi at the beginning, and then literally you won't say a word till the end. You'll say like, "Thanks, guys," and then you'll leave. Like, I really want people to communicate more in games. Not just communicate, interact more. Like, I miss that in a lot of MMORPGs, and hopefully we'll see. Hopefully we'll see more of that. You do get that in open world PvP games or with open PKing, so that's definitely a positive.
So well, I want to stay on the E3 topic real quick. And my second most interesting thing besides the BDO launch was, and this is a point Omar and I disagree with, is the Age of Empires Definitive Edition. This is a remastered version. But for some reason, I'm a sucker for remastered old school RTSs. I bought Age of Empires 2 HD. I'm really excited for StarCraft remastered. And now I have a third one, guys. Age of Empires Definitive Edition. So I'm going to play this trailer. I'm going to turn the sound up a little. This is like my childhood pouring back into me. You know, maybe some of you guys are
pure nostalgia, and that's it. There's no substance here. I played a lot of Age of Empires 1 with you growing up, and honestly, I like Age of Empires 2 more already. I mean, I played a lot more Age of Empires 2 than Age of Empires 1. I thought it was a great game, but when they were announcing that, right, in the presentation, they were like, we're going to bring you, like, we're going to bring like one of the most storied franchises in like RTS history, right? When they said that, I'm like, holy shit. And the video is playing. Do we have Age of Empires 4? There's no way. I'm so like, I was actually really hype over that. Because a lot of the console stuff I wasn't too hype about, but like I was like, holy crap, are they gonna make Age of Empires 4? Holy shit! And like, as soon as I saw what they're showing off, like this is just a remake or a remastered version. I hate remastered versions. It doesn't get me excited, like, ever. But this, they're remastering Final Fantasy 12. Who cares?
But doesn't this? No. But here's the thing. Okay, I get it. For most of the time, they don't do much, right? Especially the Age of Empires 2 HD. It didn't really change much. Like it made the network stuff better, right? But the graphics look the same. But with this one, it genuinely looks different. Like it looks like a more modern game. Like, I mean, the graphics are night and day difference. I'd say.
Yeah. But so I realized we're not going to get an Age of Empires 4 because Ensemble Studios, the guys that made the Age of Empires franchise, they went bankrupt like back in 2009. So I don't think we're going to be seeing an Age of Empires 4 unless they make a whole new studio for it, which they might eventually. But RTS genre is pretty out of favor lately.
Story time, guys. Story time. So the first time, not the first time, but the main time I played Age of Empires wasn't even at home. Age of Empires 1. It was in middle school during lunch. I remember me and my friends would go to the library, and we would install Age of Empires 1 on the computers in the library. There was only like 8 computers total, and we'd take all of them, and we would host a LAN game. And we'd never actually finish a game, right? Because an 8-player giant map, 30-40 minute lunch class, you could never actually finish a round. But so we'd all launch a game. We'd all, one guy's Egyptian, Greek, whatever, and the teacher would walk by and like, what are you guys doing? You're just supposed to be, library. You can't play games here. But when the teacher saw what we're playing, and he saw the little Greek spires or whatever in the little houses, and we're like, no, this is history. This is history. It's okay. They would look for like a minute and say, this looks pretty cool. Okay, you can keep playing this. So you
got away with playing Age of Empires in high school, in middle school.
In middle school.
That's pretty cool. Pretty badass. I mean, I guess if you see the structures, maybe like a cutscene, like before the missions, if you're playing single player, yeah, you could totally sell that as like a educational experience.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the teacher was just like, I think it was a history teacher / librarian, so I think he was just into like history. So he's like, all right, kids, you guys can play this.
Look, I don't want to say Age of Empires too long, but I was really upset with Age of Empires 2 HD. I bought the game on launch, paid money for it, and it was like the net play was like unplayable garbage. It was the laggiest piece of shit ever, to the point where the original Age of Empires was less laggy than the new one. So to this day, I think Age of Empires 2 HD has lag issues when you're playing with at least like a bunch of people online. So, and it's just reselling the same game, and I don't know, man. This is I was so sad to hear this remastering or re-HDing it. I mean, I'm probably not going to play it. Honestly, I'd rather just play Age of Empires 2 HD if anything. But even then, again, I was disappointed with it. Just selling the same game over and over again.
That is the modern way. All right.
But I understand the nostalgia pull too. I mean, in fact, there was a rumor that Lunia is going to come back through like All-M, the Korean developer. And there's a website for it, but I don't know if it's a private server or not. But the website's down right now, so I can't check. But like the only reason that would ever come back is for nostalgia purposes. It wasn't really like a groundbreaking game. Look, I played Lunia at its peak. I enjoyed it. That little theme song was mega catchy. Fly away, whatever. Right? It was really catchy. It was fun, but like it wasn't like this revolutionary great game. If it comes back, it's purely for nostalgia reasons. But I don't know. We gotta get more new stuff, all right? I don't want to see more remastered stuff. It's like, it really almost frustrates me when something remastered comes out because I'm like, okay, they could have been working on a new game, but they worked on this remastered nonsense instead. That was my feeling with Persona 4. Loved Persona 4, and then they made Persona 4 Golden, and they did Persona 4 fighting game. They made all these like knockoffs, like Portable, Golden, like all these different like variants of the same thing, and they keep selling the same product over and over again. So I know I'm getting a little distracted, but I don't want these offshoot games. I want a new game. All right, so I'm salty. I don't like Age of Empires HD. Ain't gonna do it for me.
All right. Well, I guess we're on separate sides of both this one and StarCraft Remastered. I still maintain StarCraft Remastered is gonna sell like hotcakes. So we will see.
I am not optimistic.
Later this summer, I suppose.
Should mention too that Anthem is actually for PC as well and Xbox and PS4. So it should be for every console. So which is super nice.
I mean, if it wasn't for PC, I wouldn't even be talking about it. Honestly.
Yeah. Honestly, me too. But also, BDO is actually, again, is for Xbox One only at the moment, at least at launch, sometime in early 2018. Do you think it'll come to PS4, or is it going to be an Xbox One exclusive?
For which one?
BDO.
Xbox exclusive for now. I mean...
But why? Why would they do that? Why not? You know, there's a giant market that is PS4s, right? And if anything, I feel like MMORPGs, if anything, are catering more towards PS4 players.
The speculation at this point is that Microsoft is going to help them with the recoding it or whatever to make it work well.
Yeah, maybe there has to be a reason. Otherwise, they must have been paid or subsidized somehow for development costs.
So that's the theory. Besides that, there's nothing concrete yet.
People are saying it'll come to PS4 eventually. It's possible. Maybe they sign like a 1-year exclusivity because I can't imagine them committing to permanent Xbox exclusiveness for the whole period. It makes no sense. You're limiting your own player base.
There's a new term that was used a lot this E3. It's called launch exclusive. So what that means is it's not exclusive. It's just exclusive for the first year. So that was a lot of that going on. Oh, True DPS brings up a good point. Perhaps it has something to do with the cross-platform, because Microsoft is not against cross-platform PC and Xbox. It's PlayStation that's usually against cross-platform between PlayStation and Microsoft. So
interesting.
Maybe this is a sign that the servers will not be separate between BDO console players and BDO PC players.
Actually, I'm looking at this Polygon article from today, actually. The Rocket League dev says PS4 cross-platform play is already done. Sony just needs to say yes. It's a political barrier right now.
Yep.
So that's interesting.
That's been the case for a long time.
But why sabotage it that way? Like you're getting no goodwill from your players, and if the other guy is ready to say yes, you just appear like a douchebag. Like Sony's getting a lot of negative PR for this.
Sony doesn't want their platform to be a commodity. If everything is cross-platform, right? Then the console brand, see, the PlayStation brand is worth more currently than the Xbox brand. But if they all just become boxes under your TV and they all work with each other, there goes the margin, there goes the brand. It doesn't matter. You could buy the Glub 35 and you can play with that.
I get that with like games that are cross, but the game is available on both consoles. I don't see the hurt of making cross-platform. You can still have exclusive PS4 games, Sony games, and that's fine. The exclusivity is, I think, what really sells consoles too. The cross-platform play, I don't think people are thinking about that too much. I think many times people buy a console, it's because of an exclusive title. That's driven all my decisions for buying consoles, like pretty much since forever ago.
Well, it's that this falls into the exclusive camp. They want a game. If it's on PlayStation, the multiplayer can only play with other PlayStation people. They don't want you. As soon as you allow cross-platform play, the brand loses value. The box loses value.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Actually, somebody mentioned in the chat that a little slightly off topic. Sorry about that. That League is doing the Overwatch style like MVP voting system at the end of each game, so people can vote on who the most valuable player is. I think we've talked about this before, but honestly, I think they should have a least valuable player. Let you vote on the biggest feeder on your team. Just like, congratulations, you were voted the worst player by your team. I feel like it would let people like vent their frustration. They're like, I'm gonna vote. Like, if you're gonna vote for the guy who's the least valuable player, it might make you less toxic in game if you can just kind of give that vote to him at the end of the game. I feel like that'd be kind of nice.
I was never a fan of the whole voting at the end of the game, whether in Overwatch or now in League. It's just pointless. Like, I never vote for an enemy. I always vote for myself. In Overwatch, I always vote for myself. It's never a question.
Yeah, same.
So I don't know. I guess it's just there to be cute and some interaction, but it kind of doesn't serve a purpose for me.
All right. You know what I was most disappointed about at E3? We didn't see any Final Fantasy VII remake footage. Why?
Oh, you're right.
That's such a mainstream thing, and like the whole Square Enix presentation was pretty disappointing in my opinion. Like, why not show? Like, even if you just show the same old shit, right? I'd rather see some of that. All right. I'm still kind of hype about that. Talk about nostalgia being a hell of a thing, you know?
I don't think that project is going well. That's why. I think I told you last week. They actually contracted out the remake to a third party, Square Enix. And just recently, a few months ago, they pulled that. And they said, nope, we're bringing it back in-house for quality control reasons. What that tells me is they were not happy with the progress or the work that the third party had been doing. So I think that project is basically back at square one. So I don't think there's anything to show. That's a problem.
But do you think inherently contracting out to a third-party studio is a bad idea? We've seen Call of Duty do it many times. Like, the current Call of Duty game is being made by Sledgehammer Games, right? Like, it's
aren't they owned by
not
Activision?
directly? Yeah, I mean, are they owned back to? I don't know. Every Call of Duty, there's always a new studio making it.
No. The way it works with Call of Duty is every year, 2 internal studios switch off. So, for example, so that way the next one is always being worked on by the other studio. That's how they can afford to release it every year, because they trade. The 2 studios trade off on.
No, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, they're owned by Activision anyway.
Yeah. So and yes, I do think there's a problem with contracting off, especially your flagship product. If Square Enix spun off some bullshit mobile game, and Billy Bob Joe Development House did it, it's fine. But Final Fantasy VII remake is literally like the embodiment of Square Enix, right? Like, it is everything Square Enix stands for. And
that's fair.
The fact that they even at the beginning thought of contracting that out shows me they've completely lost touch with reality as a company.
You think that made them lose track of reality? I think this made them lose track of reality. This was probably the most cringe thing I've seen at Square Enix, and probably all of E3. This was Final Fantasy 15 PSVR fishing.
Wow.
Are they for real?
I mean, this is like, why with VR? I don't understand that part.
The cringe is killing me. It's killing me. Look at this intense music playing as he's like pulling in that bass hunter. Bass hunter. As he's pulling in that bass hunter.
I don't get it.
What is this?
Who asked for this?
Why is it a thing?
Oh my god.
Oh man, this is like the cringe factor is pretty real on this one. Monsters of the Deep. I think they're just trying to like release a shit ton of titles with Final Fantasy 15 the name to maybe like make some more money off the franchise. Like, they got the characters, they got the world. They're making all these offshoots. There's like a mobile game coming too, so that's really the only reason they're doing it. I think
what happened is Sony demanded from Square Enix a VR game. So Sony said, "All right, big studios, I want at least one VR title from each of you, okay, for the next year or whatever." And the Square Enix is like, "Well, we don't have time for this shit. We can't even make Final Fantasy VII remake. So you know what? We're gonna spin this fishing thing off for you guys."
I mean, that's a reasonable observation. Actually, there's one more cringe thing that happened at E3. I kind of want to see if I can find it for you. That when they announced Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, it's a 3v3 fighting game, right? But like what they showed off when they revealed it was like this really weird like story trailer. Like, it was so weird. This is what they showed off, right? Like, on the big stage, everyone's watching. And when you think Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, you're not thinking about like a well-done story. You're not thinking about Chun-Li talking to like this other evil superhero guy trying to talk him down from doing evil deeds. You think about a fighting game, right? Like, why they show this?
Okay, I haven't seen this, so I'm watching it for the first time here.
I thought it was pretty cringe because like you don't play these games for the story. You play these games for the actual in-game. It's a fighting game. Show off the fighting game aspect. Don't show off the story.
Dude, don't you care about the what's it called, Tekken 7 story? Come on.
No, not even a little bit. But like, if they just showed off the actual gameplay, like, it would have been way more hype. Like, why are they just show this? Show what people actually want to see.
Show Mega Man? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, show Mega Man being the shit out of freaking anybody, right? It's more fun. I thought this was a little bit cringe myself, but I mean, you can find the gameplay videos for it. It's just I don't know why they didn't show off right away, because you're not playing these games for the story. I know people out there can be like, oh, but the Injustice story was good. Yeah, whatever, but like you don't play fighting games for story.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. It's one of the few genres where I just click X as soon as the game is loading. Like I don't want to watch a little cutscene.
It's like Soul Calibur, two souls collide in the eternal arena, or blah 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 blah. It's like, who cares? All right. Plot doesn't win customers for for fighting games. I'm sorry.
All right. Anything else from E3? What else we got going on?
I mean, again, and most stuff was really light, unfortunately. You know, actually, one small rant about not necessarily E3, but like the whole gaming conference business, whatever, right? Like
shindig.
Yeah, when this whole shindig, when there's like one presentation, when E3 is like the presentation, yeah, it's kind of cool, right? But we've gotten to a point where there are so many like conferences. You got the Tokyo Game Show, you got the PAX conference, and East, West, Southeast, Northwest, every PAX, you know? You got E3. There's so many gaming conferences now that like you can't really look forward to one thing. Like you got the one in Korea for MMOs, really. If you want MMORPGs, really the show for you is G-Star in Korea, right? That's going to show off all the big Korean companies are working on, and some of the Chinese companies too. And China's got their own, China Joy for a lot of the, whatever Tencent's working on. And I think we'll be getting a lot more of the big Chinese games that launch in China and America, because China is a gaming powerhouse now. Tencent owns so many studios in the West. They're going to be pushing more of their games here. But so almost like there's no one big conference you can really be hyped for now. It's almost like very diffused. And yeah, you get more conferences, but you kind of lose the hype. Like there was a lot more hype around like E3 when it was the video game conference, and that was it. But now everything's kind of spread out. It's like, yeah,
it's actually better for industry people though. Like if you're Bob, the marketing guy at like one of these companies, now you get to have free vacation 24/7 all year round, baby. 1 week you're going to Korea, 1 week you're going to San Francisco, 1 week you're going to China, Japan. Baby, you got the whole year planned out. So I think these conferences are made for the marketing guy.
Classic Bob. Classic Bob Ross ASMR, clearly.
There was at least one other trailer, guys, that I liked at E3, or I thought was interesting. Durango. This is Nexon's, I think, kind of mobile survival game. And the beginning here is just cinematic, but there is some gameplay later on. So basically, it's like Ark Survival Evolved for your phone. Like you're on this island with dinosaurs, and you gotta survive. I'm really curious to see where this goes, because I do think eventually we will get more in-depth phone games, like real games on our phones.
I think we're getting there. They're definitely getting better and better. So Durango actually did surprisingly well in its beta test in the West. There was a limited beta, and you can actually play it in English. Unfortunately, I never got to play it, so I really can't talk too much about it, but I'm curious to see what it's going to be about.
Yeah, here's some gameplay right here. They're killing some Triceratops on the beach. They're taming some T-Rex or something. I don't know, but yeah, if this plays well on a phone, it kind of shows that the phones are getting places. I did show in the pregame the new iPad processor CPU is actually faster than the i7 from 5 years ago. So the 2 series i7. So we are getting to a point where these mobile chips and graphic capabilities are not surpassing or matching, but at least matching, slightly older PC technology. So we will get to the point where a game like League of Legends could definitely play on any phone today, right? So now it's up to the developers to give us something interesting with that power.
And actually, we probably should mention too, the Monster Hunter Unlimited.
Oh yes.
I mean, that's the cool thing about that too, is it's actually be available for PC as well. Usually Monster Hunter games are console only, so it's nice to see this coming out.
What's it called?
It's Monster Hunter World. I know I called it Unlimited Derp. It's Monster Hunter World. And I actually never played a proper Monster Hunter game. One of my friends in high school was obsessed with Monster Hunter, and I played at his house for a couple hours, but like I never owned it myself, so I never actually sat down and played it. But now that's coming out for PC, I'm going to give it a try, and it looks pretty interesting. I'm actually also looking at this chart right now. This is also always a fun chart to kind of show off in the podcast. Maybe we should probably always look at this, because this shows the most played games in South Korea. And of course, Korea is one of the meccas for MMORPGs outside of China. And look who's on top again over there, League of Legends.
Wow, Overwatch X #3. He got FIFA Online 3 past it.
But what's surprising, MapleStory is still killing it, guys. MapleStory is sitting at number 6, and honestly, like I actually because of E3 and all these new game announcements and stuff like that, I was kind of like, okay, I kind of want to play a new game. I want to play MapleStory too. Is there any news on that? I was scouring MapleStory, like Nexon's official website, and the internet for any news on MapleStory 2, and we got nada. The most recent news is that the Chinese closed beta rather, is still happening, and that's all we've heard about MapleStory 2 in forever. MapleStory 2 is number 49 on this list, so it's not doing so hot.
And we still haven't really heard any update on Hyper Universe. Besides, they're still working on the American version.
Well, it was playable at PAX, so there's already something there. They're probably pretty close to releasing. I think weren't they aiming for a summer release too?
Yeah. And now back to this chart real quick, Omar. StarCraft is number 7, and that's Brood War. So you're telling me when Remastered comes out, this is gonna pass MapleStory? It's gonna pass Dungeon Fighter? It's probably gonna pass Sun Attack.
Why do you think that though? It's made for people playing StarCraft already. Like new people who never played StarCraft aren't going to play StarCraft
but a lot of people
this HD version.
A lot of people who stopped playing haven't come back yet. They're waiting for the Remastered. Because
I don't know if there's a big people there's a giant group of people just waiting to play.
It's already bigger than Blade and Soul and Diablo 3 in Korea.
It's a big game. It's definitely a big game. I think Blade and Soul makes more money though, because StarCraft isn't really selling.
There's no way to monetize in StarCraft.
Yeah, I know.
So that's not fair. All right, back to this.
Heroes of the Storm are still doing pretty well over there too.
All right.
What's surprising me, Tales Runner is actually still on that list. Tales Runner is an interesting game. It's actually, I think it was one of those early racing games in America that tried to actually sell banner space in in the game. And that's kind of an idea that a lot of people talk about. Like, how could they make advertising a thing in MMOs, right? Imagine Blizzard sells like a billboard in Orgrimmar or anywhere else, right? Like a giant billboard.
That would ruin the ambiance.
Why? They drink Coca-Cola, and it's like
an Orgrimmar.
Real orcs drink Coca-Cola, and it shows you show fucking Hellscream, Grom Hellscream drinking Coca-Cola.
And for 1 week, your HP potions are actually replaced by Coca-Cola cans.
But why don't they do that though? You would think like it's like a freebie, isn't it?
No, dude, that would kind of ruin the ambiance. I'm telling you, it would ruin the immersion.
But like, you have like some silly. I don't know. Really, I think it'd be kind of fun.
It works in sports games. Like Rocket League has the banners on the arena, and that works because it's not really like a story-driven, lore-driven game. But it would not work in World of Warcraft.
They added a Mountain Dew bot pet into the game already, apparently. So that's interesting.
And WoW, that's crazy.
I didn't know that. I haven't touched WoW since Mists of Pandaria. But I mean, a lot of people have tried to monetize like advertising in games. Racing games have tried it too. Like, do you think does Rocket League actually make money from those ads?
No,
in
probably
game?
not.
I can't imagine. Like, because I know Tales Runner actually tried that, because back in the Hut days, if you played Tales Runner back in like when it first launched in America, like in freaking 2008 or something, there were actually banners for MMO Hut in Tales Runner. And they gave us like 2 weeks free trial to like advertising game. Like, oh, whatever, I'll take it, free 2 weeks. Why not, right? So like, as you were driving, you saw like our website logo in Tales Runner. But there's no way anybody saw that banner and is like, okay, I'm gonna go type this into Google now. Like, it seems like a very inefficient form of advertising.
Yeah, definitely. I think was the real world advertising with like you got to guess the eyeballs is just really fishy. Somebody asked when Monster Hunter World is coming out. The trailer I'm showing, early 2018 for consoles, and then a PC release is just said to be later on. So early 2018, guys, for consoles.
But that's also one of the more hype games that was revealed, Monster Hunter World. Another thing I was kind of grappling about, with conferences like this in general, everybody knew what was being shown off, right? Like 90% of what was shown, like everybody already knows. It was kind of on the schedule, right? Like, like you kind of lose the hype when it's on the schedule. It's on the docket, But then again, you see stuff like Monster Hunter World, which I believe wasn't on the docket. So you do see some. Like, there are hype moments where, like, boom, something you didn't expect shows up, which is pretty cool.
This will be
it's rarely like that.
This will be the first Monster Hunter for PC, and some people.
Well, Monster Hunter Online is for PC. Come on.
Actually, you want to talk about your experience with that? That's actually pretty interesting.
Okay, so I actually wanted to play Monster Hunter Online because I'm like, yeah, I have a QQ account. I want to see what Monster Hunter Online is about because I'm kind of, I saw the trailer for Monster Hunter World and whatnot. So when I go to play it, it's on a Tencent QQ launcher. It's basically like the Steam of China, and I figure it'll be fine. I've played many games on there. I played Moonlight Blade, I believe. I played several games on China's launcher with no problem. So I downloaded and installed Monster Hunter Online, and after you install it, it comes bundled with so much Chinese spyware. It is insane. You wouldn't think the biggest game launcher in China would bundle their games with garbage. So, and it only happened to Monster Hunter Online. It didn't happen with Moonlight Blade. So it literally installs something called like this 360-degree antivirus, some Chinese antivirus thing, right? So every time you right-click on Windows on a file, you see that little drop-down menu. There's like 8 Chinese options there now with like this Chinese anti-spyware thing there. It installed something called this video, like it was a Chinese YouTube thing installed, and it would actually bring pop-ups on my PC for these Chinese videos like all the time. And I'm like, what the hell is this garbage? I want to play Monster Hunter Online. I don't want this Chinese spyware on my PC. So I go to uninstall them. So I find them individually in my program files, and you click the uninstall button, and it uninstalls, and then a second later it reinstalls itself. It's literally Chinese spyware. Like it's reinstalling itself as you delete it. So it was an ordeal. It took me an hour, and I deleted that garbage finally. And at that point, I'm like, fuck Monster Hunter Online. I'm not playing this garbage. It's fucking installing spyware on my PC. So, and people, Milk says, yeah, it took me forever to finally purge all that shit. Like, why does this shouldn't happen? Like, how is it that such a big game on the biggest gaming platform in China is allowed to be bundled with like multiple tiers of garbage? I get like if they want to install one thing, but why like 3 or 4 things? It's unacceptable. That also kind of makes me realize PC gaming is always hurt when you can't police like this garbage. Like, it's insane.
Total side tangent, but there are some people like Tim Sweeney of Unreal who kind of hate Windows 10 because they see Windows 10 as a slow attempt to basically lock people into the Microsoft Store. By the way, I've used the Microsoft Store once to purchase something, of adult content, but I've never used it for games. But
well, you bought adult content?
That's not important right now.
Well, that's
not important right now. The more important thing here is about gaming. Okay?
I was gonna let that slide. You can bring that up later, though.
Okay.
Maybe the after show.
Okay, maybe after show. Okay, so as I was saying, that trailer I showed you guys earlier about Age of Empires Definitive Edition, it's going to be available on the Microsoft Store exclusively. Currently, that's planned. And people are saying, well, I'm not going to buy it then. I'm only going to buy it for Steam. I'm actually a big proponent of Microsoft making it so if you're on a Windows computer, you can only download and install programs from the Microsoft Store. Now, people are going to get mad at me, oh, you don't want freedom, open platform, whatever. I'm okay with like them charging an extra $100 for like the Pro. If you have a Pro license, right? Pro, then you can go do what you're doing now. Go on like Tencent.com and download Chinese, government spyware if you want. But the average home user for the default computer he buys at, Dell.com or whatever, he should only be able to get it from the Microsoft Store. And this is to prevent people from getting spyware and ruining their computers. If they know what they're doing, like you and me, they can pay the extra $100 for the Pro license, and then they can
pirate it, whatever.
Or pirate the Pro license, yes. And then they can do whatever they want, like they're doing today. But I don't see a reason why allowing people to download... Here's the thing. I have relatives who are like 50, 60, 70. They're afraid to go on the internet. Because if they go to the wrong site, if they click the wrong link, well, there goes their new computer. That's it. If I'm not around to fix it, that new computer is useless until I come around to fix it. So, and I don't think it's a good system for anyone.
I agree. I think like Microsoft can slow down, I guess, maybe the decline of PC gaming. PC gaming is actually like of consoles, mobile, and PC. I think PC gaming was the only subsector of gaming that actually declined year over year between like 2015 and 16. So the prognosis is decline, and I think that can be slowed down if the ecosystem was better and more casual friendly. I think one of the biggest reasons we're seeing mobile games do so well is how casual friendly they are, and the fact that you just can't like break your phone by downloading a game the way you can on PC. Like, obviously, you guys watching the stream, listening on YouTube, you're probably more sophisticated than the average PC user. But think about when you go to your grandparents' house, you go to like your relative's house, and you see like their PC. They got WeatherBug installed. They got like 7 different toolbars. They got the As toolbar, the Bing toolbar, WeatherBug, and they get pop-ups when they're like not doing anything. It makes your computer unusable, and you just I understand the benefit of what you're talking about with the Windows Store, and so long as there's a way to like keep doing what we're doing for like through Steam and whatever, I'm okay with that, because I do think Microsoft should protect the people that are not, you know, computer savvy.
And it's not just you know, grandparents. I remember in high school we had a friend who was a console player, and we told him, dude, you have to get Battlefield 1942. It's a great game. It's a shooter. You know, you like shooters on console. You'll love this game. So he buys it because he trusts us. And back then, there was no auto patching. Okay, if you wanted to patch a PC game, you had to go on a site like File Planet. You had to like find the, you know, Battlefield 1942 version 8.62b and download it, and then like drag the files into your program files, right?
And only after you download the previous patch manually, because like, there was no all-inclusive patch. It was like from 1.0 to 1.01, then you got down to 1.01 to 1.02.
Yeah, it was yeah, so exactly. You had to go in order. So anyway, so he buys the game, $50, you know, in high school, it's a lot of money. So he's, you know, okay, I put the CD and I install it, but he can't play with us. So we link him, oh, you got to patch it. And he spends all day trying to figure this out. And he's like, dude, like, he just gets so mad. Like, I can't, this is, I don't know what to do. Like, I gotta, oh, dude, you need WinRAR. What are you doing? Of course you can't unzip that by yourself. And he's like, dude, what is all this? Like, and he quit. And honestly, I don't blame him, because, you know, I spent all day on the computer, so I learned it, you know, through osmosis. But for an average person, even our age, it's not, imagine like Omar told his friend, try Monster Hunter Online with me. And then the friend did that. Omar knows how to fix computers and uninstall stuff like spyware, but the other guy doesn't. So he would have just ruined his computer, and that's it. So it's crazy.
Oh, that's bad.
Back to Monster Hunter real quick. Another game like Monster Hunter had a trailer at E3, Dauntless. So this is the race is on now to be the first Monster Hunter-like game on PC in North America.
Well, the cool thing about Dauntless still is it's going to be free to play, whereas Monster Hunter, you know, is still going to cost money.
Mm-hmm.
So Dauntless is really the only free to play Monster Hunter-esque game out there. I mean, yeah, you got Monster Hunter Online, but I don't play that shit. You can get Chinese spyware up the ass, right? If you're willing to deal with Chinese spyware, yeah, you can play. It's fine, but like, be warned. But in America, this can be really the only Monster Hunter-esque game.
So there it is.
I think it's aiming to launch sometime this year as well, so it's still kind of, you know, on the platter. Anyway, we talked about the BDO console launch as well. We still have a Terra console launch planned for, I believe, 2017. Their official website says 2017, but we haven't had any kind of, you know, release date announced. But that's so if they follow what they say on their website, Terra should also be launching on console, you know, before BDO. And I am confident that BDO on console is going to be huge. Like, potentially much bigger than Steam, I think, actually. I think a lot of, like, MMORPG players are jaded. Let's be real. You go to MMORPG, everyone is so jaded and cynical. But, like, you still have an untapped, you know, group of gamers that are still not fully versed with free-to-play on console that are going to try BDO. And they'll probably like it a lot, you know, because free-to-play is still something special on console. Especially when you have, like, really good free-to-play games like, you know, BDO. Whereas us PC users, we've played the garbage free-to-play games too. We've played the Revelation Online. You know, we've played all the Duker games out there. So like, we get kind of jaded about what MMORPGs are. But console players are still pure, and I think they're gonna. I mean, it's great that they're playing games like BDO, and like a lot of the garbage games aren't coming to console. So it's good for their experience, I think. So I think BDO is going to be huge on console. And you can't be understated how successful Black Desert Online is too, and how amazing that success is, because the game didn't do that well in Korea, right? It's a much bigger success here in Europe and America than it is in even Russia or I'm not sure if anybody plays in China or definitely Korea. So it's booming.
Yeah, so in chat just hinted at this, but I'd argue that the console demographic kind of skews a little younger. So the fact that they have less free to play options. If you're like a kid on an Xbox, and games cost $60, your parents don't want to buy you a game every day, and you see this list of now very decent games like Terra, BDO. It's BDO is gonna be not free, but $6 or $10 or whatever. If you see these options, even Neverwinter and stuff, I think these are easy sells for console players. And ESO even has said that they have way more players on consoles than PC. The ESO split, guys, is about 1/3 PlayStation, 1/3 Xbox, 1/3 PC. So that means 2/3 of their players are playing on consoles.
I think we're going to see more and more PDs launching with console in mind, because because the console games are doing so well. I mean, these games would not be rushed to release on console if stuff Neverwinter wasn't doing really well. Like Neverwinter is clearly minting money on console, which is why games like Skyforge are rushed to release on console as well.
Yep.
Now, the games that launch on console, like in the early, before that, they have such a big advantage. We have so much crap games on the PC, so many free-to-play MMORPG options that we're just overwhelmed. It's not quite there yet on console. So again, people are playing the crap out of them just because they're free-to-play, and it's good that the good games are coming on there. And it's worth mentioning too. There's another big console game coming out soon. What was it? I'm brain derping here for a second.
A relaunch or like a new game. Destiny 2 is a new game coming on console. Path of Exile is coming on consoles. That's a big one.
There you go.
Path of Exile on Xbox, I think, is going to be huge.
Mint that money. Oh, we should talk about Magic the Gathering. I was thinking about that.
Oh.
This is probably the biggest MMORPG news of the week, like for sure. Magic the Gathering MMORPG was announced by Cryptic Studio this last week, and that's pretty cool because my brother and I both grew up playing Magic the Gathering, and we love the franchise a lot. And it's being developed by Cryptic Studios and published by Perfect World Entertainment. Unfortunately, beyond knowing that it's an MMORPG, we literally know nothing about this game. All we know is something is happening.
Yep, and when I both played this growing up, and actually in pregame, we listened to a lady sensually open a box of Magic the Gathering booster packs. And I think Wizards of the Coast is very happy with how Neverwinter turned out. Cryptic Studios did a great job, I believe, with Neverwinter. Some people aren't happy with some of the choices there, but I think it's a great free-to-play game. It kind of captures everything about D&D in a very simple, easy to bite package. And I think Magic the Gathering, some people were questioning whether you're gonna have to buy gotchas for like packs and stuff, like card packs. I don't think so. I think it's gonna be set in the Magic universe. I think it's gonna be a Neverwinter reskin with better, updated technical graphics and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine. Actually, I know we did a weekly raid over a year ago, where we said, what IP do we want to see a MMORPG for? I think one of us said Harry Potter. I said Magic the Gathering. I think this game is ripe for MMORPG. It's got all the lore, the characters, the monsters, the landmasses, the zones. So I am happy to see an MMORPG based on this. I will be playing this. I bet it's going to be free to play. So
yeah, it's by Cryptic. It'll be free. If not free to play, it could be buy to play, maybe one-time purchase. Because again, I do think that model is going to get more and more popular. Only because of BDO doing so well with it. But then Cryptic has done really well anyway.
It'll be a Founders Pack, early access for like the first year.
Yeah, definitely.
And then free to play.
Whoever invented the Founders Pack, like maybe next week I'm going to do a little bit of digging. Like, what was the first free to play game that had Founders Packs? Because whoever invented it is a genius. The industry makes so much money off Founders Packs. Like, it's such a mainstream thing, but we kind of forget. It's literally like 2 years old, isn't it? Like, that concept didn't exist like 2.5 years ago even. It's not that it's not that old.
That's true. Yeah.
So I'm curious, who was the first MMORPG to do a free-to-play MMO that did the whole Founders Pack nonsense? Somebody said ArcAge, I think, possibly. So Bash Brew, I'm kind of curious. I'm gonna look that up by next week. I kind of wish we could show you more about Magic the Gathering, but there's literally nothing beyond the announcement. But it also kind of shows us that Perfect World and Cryptic are not giving up on MMORPGs, and it was really refreshing too, because we've seen a lot of indie MMORPGs announced recently. Even there was one this week as well. We might bring up later. Like, a lot of indie games get announced, but we really haven't had a triple. This is probably not AAA because like Perfect World isn't like a giant company like EA or Activision. But this is a big Western studio making an MMORPG on a big franchise. So this is like the first big MMORPG announcement I think we've had from a Western studio in a long time. So it's positive news, I think, for the industry as a whole.
Actually, okay. Normally we don't pick our Friday Grindfest games at this point, but there is one Cryptic game I haven't tried yet, and that is Star Trek Online. So I'm gonna nominate that for Grindfest,
right.
So I can give it a shot. I love Star Trek. Cryptic knows their shit, So I will.
Fair.
I want to give them a shot. So
I have a question for you too. Now that we brought Magic the Gathering too.
Okay.
Because I read there was a very long and heated discussion about loot boxes on RMRPG. And I actually had a pretty lengthy discussion about loot boxes as well on the MMOs.com Discord chat. And people were complaining that obviously the RNG mechanic, it's gambling, you're getting kids addicted to gambling, it's wrong, it should be illegal, they shouldn't do it. But first of all, do you think loot boxes are gambling?
Are they gambling? Okay, can you only buy them through paying money? Because some games, like a lot of mobile games, actually allow you to earn boxes in game. But
okay, let's say you can only buy them with money.
That's gambling.
It's gambling. So is a kid buying a Pokemon booster pack or a Magic the Gathering booster pack also gambling?
Yes.
Why is one okay and the other one isn't? Nobody's giving a shit.
Well, first of all, I never said one is okay and the other isn't. So
okay.
You kind of loaded that on me there.
Okay, but do you think they're both okay? Or do you
yes, they're both okay.
So the outrage for loot boxes is like some of the comments on MMORPG were like really like eye popping. Like the amount of hatred some people have for like, look, I get it. Like some games you can pick apart being pay to win with the loot boxes, right? And like some awful mechanics. But the top comment on this loot box thing was a guy saying, take a look, maybe you can show it off in the podcast here. Somebody has complained that there are no lock boxes in Final Fantasy 14, just straight up cosmetic cash shops, right? This getting a little distracted over here. And some guys say, cosmetic cash shop in a subscription-based game is the most bullshit thing ever. Why should I pay for the subscription? Like, holy crap, dude, they're just cosmetics. Like, who cares? Like, the level of almost entitlement here just seems like absurd. Like, why would you get mad over cosmetics?
I think there's a huge, I don't know what it is, like grandfather effect. You know, like we grew up playing games where you either buy it once and you do whatever you want in the game, or you pay a monthly fee and you do whatever you want in the game. But there's no reason for that to be what a game is defined as. Like this generation, I think, is growing up with mobile games. So I think that the kind of pay-to-win ethos will be ingrained into this new generation. So I think these kind of people who whine about this stuff are like, one, showing their age, and two, showing their lack of connection with reality. And you know, it's all entertainment. So saying one is better than the other, one way is better than the other, is just kind of pointless. I am not with this guy.
This guy said 15 euros enough to buy 2 to 4 full games. I guess he's looking at Humble Bundle. Why should I spend them for a game and the subscription when it hides a part of the content behind the paywall? And this guy's like, today I learned some people view cosmetics as core content. It's like, what? But more specifically, I had a discussion on the MMOs.com Discord channel. People, two individuals felt that like Overwatch, for example, loot box system was bullshit because like they wanted a certain cosmetic and they couldn't get it, and like they're like, oh, legendary costs $12 because you get 1 legendary per 13 loot boxes in Overwatch on average, and the guy just divided the cost of 50 loot boxes by 13, and he comes up like a legendary is worth 12. It costs $12. Like that's bullshit. I paid for the game. Why should I have to pay for these cosmetics? I'm like, dude, you don't have to pay for the cosmetics. Relax. But like, I think Overwatch is actually one of the most generous with loot boxes and cosmetics of like any game I've ever played. Like it actually boggles my mind that Blizzard didn't monetize it more. I think Blizzard could have had a much better balance of loot box drop rates being lower and make people spend more money in the cash out. But I feel like Blizzard really, for some reason, gave a lot more away than they had to. But it almost feels like the more you give away, the more people want to take more. You know, they want more out of that. So I think Blizzard personally made a mistake by making it so generous. And they're just cosmetics. They don't change the game at all. Like when you buy a game like Overwatch, you know, when you buy a game, I understand the frustration when they're going to put a paywall in the game of like maybe like to get the next max, like to go from level, like even expansion packs to a degree. I can understand like with the model we have now with a lot of games where a lot of stuff is free. When they're selling content, maybe when they're selling classes, right? It almost feels wrong when Neverwinter sells you like a premium class, right? Or a premium race. I think that they just do races, not classes. But I understand that frustration, right? But when they're doing cosmetics, even through a loot box mechanic where you can't get the cosmetic you want, like how are you like what are they taking away from you? You still have the game, you have the core content. What's the problem? I didn't understand.
Okay, I'm gonna blow your mind. Ready?
Blow my mind.
You guys ready for some altai wisdom?
I'm ready for some altai wisdom.
Okay. If you want to know what people are the most passionate about, what they think about the most, what they, you know, when they wake up in the morning, when they go to bed at night, what is on their mind? It's not it's not what they say they like. It's not how they dress. It's what they complain about. What people complain about is what they're obsessing over. So if people are complaining about Overwatch loot boxes, that means they like Overwatch. That means Overwatch is doing it right. Okay? If you're complaining about something, it means that that thing is doing it right. It's doing it the way it should be. It's capturing your imagination. It's capturing your attention. So those people love Overwatch. They're obsessed. They're addicted. And it doesn't matter how much Overwatch charges for those loot boxes. They're going to pay.
I guess. I mean, they were talking quite a bit about it. And I think the analogy they made was, but, you know, Heroes of the Storm does it so well. Because Heroes of the Storm, for example, is much more generous to loot boxes. But the obvious argument there is Heroes of the Storm isn't doing as well as Overwatch. So they're doing whatever they can to kind of, you know, give players everything they possibly can to keep players interested in that game. But I don't know. It really, look, I understand the frustration of loot boxes when there's pay-to-win elements involved. And, like, whatever. It's bullshit. I agree. And, like, but when cosmetics are involved that don't change the game, like, who cares? Like, honestly, if people are spending money on loot boxes, it's subsidizing your game. You know, if you're playing for free, and I think even quote-unquote pay-to-win games can be fully enjoyed by 99.9% of the community, including myself, without really spending money or doing the pay-to-win stuff. Very few games, I think, cross the barrier between like pay-to-win that disrupts the game for everybody else. Very few games, and a lot of those are like bullshit browser-based strategy or mobile strategy games, or like open PvP games. People will one-shot you with pay-to-win gear, but those are really the odd ones out. Those are rare. Those aren't the big ones.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played a game in a while that I felt cheated at. Like BDO, people who pay for extra stuff, like those pets that loot for you. You know, they clearly get an advantage, but it's not really at my detriment. You know, I could technically sit there and loot everything one by one. I just choose not to sometimes. So it's not like, you know, it's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm. All right, we can take this a bit to Astellia, which I think we mentioned last week, but now we have a bit more information about this one actually. There was MMORPG.com did a pretty nice interview with the Korean developer Brunson Studio. There's a CBT trailer you can show off right now on that article at the bottom. But the cool thing here is that it actually is coming to North America sometime in late 2018. It's coming into closed beta, I believe, in Korea. Is it closed or open beta? It's coming to beta in Korea next month, but with a release in early 2018 in Korea, but then eventually launching here in the West. But what's really interesting about this is really not the game itself, but what I said earlier about a lot of Korean MMORPGs reconsidering free-to-play versus buy-to-play. In fact, they said they're going to be aiming for they're going to make the game pay-to-play in America in order to meet NA gamers' expectations.
Wow.
So I think that I don't know if I don't think this is true. There is a vocal minority, I think, a very vocal minority that has this very negative view of free-to-play. And I understand where some of them are coming from, but I think most people don't really, don't hate a game for being free to play. You know, some games obviously do some sketchy things, but even those games do sketchy things. Many of us play those games for a long time and enjoy it without, going crazy. But we'll see if this succeeds or not. I think they will get away with it if it's a decent game. But I think it might be one of those games that goes, that launches buy to play and goes free to play like a week later, a couple weeks later, because unless the game is good, it's going to be really hard to maintain a player base as a buy-to-play MMORPG when you have so many free-to-play titles.
And you said this was coming out late 2018?
Late 2018. That's a long way to go.
It's a long road ahead.
It's quite a long road ahead still. But honestly, though, look at that trailer. I mean, it just kind of looks like another vanilla MMORPG. Nothing to really get too excited over.
And if this is the game I think it is, it's going to be on Unreal 3, right?
I believe so.
So it is already dated, I think, just based on the engine choice.
Nexon said sometime by the end of 2018, and they just said whenever the Korean version has stabilized enough. Supports up to 20-player raids, which is not bad. It's pretty cool. But what I also liked about it, the developer was open to saying we'll have crafting in our game, but crafting is not the main reason to play Astellia. It's kind of silly when you hear like MMORPG, oh, we have the best crafting, we'll have the best PvP, we'll have the best world, we'll have the best this, best that. No, it's okay to say like, look, crafting isn't the main focus of our game. So it might have something, but like it's not gonna. They're openly saying it's not gonna be a good crafting system, which kind of at least I can respect their honesty. To focus on something else, not just that crafting.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, yeah, and it is Unreal 3, guys. So it is it is gonna be quite dated in 2018. IMO.
And actually, it's not all just you know, same old, same old. I actually did a first video for a game this last week that actually looked really cool, and I kind of want to play with my brother. Maybe something fun. Maybe we can do a Grindfest Friday for this too. It's a game called Kingdom Under Fire 2. The only problem with this, it's in Chinese. But, you know, you and I, we can manage, right?
Spyware time.
This one has no Chinese spyware, so it's on the Taiwanese version, not even the Chinese.
Oh, okay,
version,
so the clean Chinese.
The clean Chinese. Even before somebody gets mad for us saying that. But this is, if you skip ahead to like you can see the tutorial. It's gonna look pretty badass. But like skip like 2-3 minutes. Go to 3 minutes and just play it from there. This video.
Okay.
So this actually, it feels like a traditional action MMORPG, kind of like Blade and Soul actually. The combat feels fast-paced and fluid. You know, and you have the quest, you have the grinding, but you also have a different element to the game where you have these large-scale, like Dynasty Warrior style scenarios, and you can actually do raids like in these scenarios like this, you know, with other people on your team, and to win these battles. It's almost like these are like some of the raids in the game, and it looks pretty badass, doesn't it? Like you just.
I am shocked by how good this looks. Like this.
And it doesn't do it justice. The video doesn't do it justice. The game runs remarkably smooth. When you see like, you'll see even more units on the screen later on, right? Like in a different part of the battle. Again, this is a tutorial, but it runs unbelievably smooth. Like I never dropped below 60 FPS, and it just felt super nice to cleave these waves of enemies.
Wow, how do they do it? What is this, like on a custom engine?
It's a custom engine.
Okay, that's why.
And they say they can support like over 10,000 units on the screen at once. Something crazy. So like, they're trying to do something different by introducing this weird like strategy element, this weird Dynasty Warriors element. In fact, you also get the kind of experience where like you could actually get a top-down view, right? So you can actually move troops around. So like later on in the video, you'll see me like go out, meet up with another group of soldiers, and my camera pans like to an RTS view, and I can move my troops somewhere else like on the battlefield, and then I can go back to like first-person action mode, and it's pretty badass. That's
one of the huge benefits of kind of doing your own engine, because if you use something like Unreal or Unity, I don't think you could even do that whole switching between like RTS and even if you could, the number of units on the screen right now would just kind of destroy any computer if it was made on Unreal. So there are benefits to doing it yourself. You can kind of customize it to your own gameplay style design here.
And I was actually kind of like suspicious, like, okay, it's got these battles, right? But like, are we going to queue for these battles? Are we going to like, is it a lobby-based game with you queue for this stuff, like these scenarios? But like, it's actually an MMORPG as well, because once you finish the tutorial, you're like in a beginner area, and you have quests, NPCs with exclamation marks over their heads, and you see grind spots where monsters are spawning. Like you get gear over there the same way you would like in any MMORPG. It's that they moved, I think, some of the dungeons and the instead of like maybe dungeons or raids, they have these kind of scenarios you can do with other players. And some of the PvP can be done this way as well. It's a really unique take on dungeons or like raids and PvP. So what you get in the traditional MMORPG, and the traditional MMORPG element, right? It's action-based as well, non-targeted action-based, and it works just really well. It feels super nice. There's an active block and an active dodge. And very few games make me appreciate like the block mechanic the way Blade and Soul did, right? Because when you block an attack in Blade and Soul, it just felt like, okay, I blocked it because I hit my button at the right time, and it felt really nice. And this game gave me that feeling as well. The only problem, of course, is that it's not in English, and there's no English patch for it. This is I believe the Taiwanese open beta. So you will struggle with some of the interface stuff, but I think might be fun to do a video for it.
You know what? When you first recommended this to me like last week, I was like, another Chinese game. In my mind, I was running Moonlight Blade, Revelation Online.
Yeah.
But now after seeing this, I would definitely be down to try this. Yeah,
it'd be cool if we could do one of these scenarios together. But like, it looks mega. Having all those units on the screen didn't lag it, which I thought was pretty incredible. Obviously, like the same unit over and over again.
That is incredible. So, whoever developed this is, they know their chops.
They did something right.
Yeah.
But this is a game that's been in development for a long time. This is also one of those games that like has been like almost like persistent, like perpetual development. I think it's been 7 or 8 years since this was first announced. Something crazy.
Speaking of 9 or 8 year development games, so I know last week we talked a lot about Bless Online, so I just want to quickly mention that Neowiz or WebZen.
Let me sneak in one thing. This game is actually aiming for a North American release in early 2018. They're aiming for a Russian release by the end by fall, and after the Russian release, there'll be a North American release. And they have a release schedule kind of planned already. So at least for now, there's something on paper saying that it's actually going to happen in English sometime in 2018 with a console release on PS4 as well. They're aiming for a console release too. So this is the first time we're hearing a release schedule for this.
What's with these Asians and releasing in Russia before America? What's up with that?
I think it's their test market. They realize maybe it's not as important. They want to make sure they get it right there.
Okay, yeah.
That's my guess.
It's like budget white people. Let's see how they take it.
Budget white people. There you go.
Anyway, so my point with the Bless is just I want to quickly say that they did announce, they did confirm that Aria Games did cancel their publishing agreement. Mm-hmm. So that is oh yeah, and
it's for realsies.
And today is actually the day that the Korean servers merged down to one. So I know we announced it weeks ago, but today is the day it actually happened.
And for the Bless thing, it's worth mentioning it's not completely abandoned yet. They did say, Neowiz specifically said we're focused on the Japanese closed beta, and the Japanese version of Bless is published by Game On, which actually is owned by Neowiz Games. So they're testing it out themselves. I don't think they're ready to abandon it yet, but I was curious about some of the financial details for Bless, for example. The company that makes Bless, Neowiz Games, is not a very giant company. They spent over $60 million on the game. The entire company of Neowiz is worth about $250 million. They spent like a fourth of their entire net worth making this game, and it's so far been a bit of I think it's fair to call it a bit of a disaster as is.
Yeah, that's a
lot of money for them.
It's a fair statement.
Yeah.
Then
if you go ahead.
If you're still on Bless, go on. I was going to move on.
All right, one more thing on Bless. Maybe you want to show off some fun financial numbers for Neowiz Games here.
Link it up.
Drop you that link. Click on that. Click on IR presentation. Let's get that investor relations presentation for Neowiz Games. It's all in English too, so you can see some data.
If you ever wanted to know about, I got a screen capture. It's downloading a PDF here.
Oh,
Oh no, it's good. It worked.
You're good.
All right.
But you can scroll down and see they still make money overall, but like they do emphasize that Bless is one of their core franchises, and they spent so much money on this game, and it's been so far been a pretty huge disappointment for them.
It seems like P-Man Poker is their
bread and butter.
Yeah.
It's weird that I think this mobile poker game is making so much money for Neowiz Games. Like if you scroll to the slide number 7, these are the 3 key IP addresses, the 3 key products. They have Social Casino Poker for P-Man Poker. They have Tap Sonic, which I never even heard about, and they have MMORPG Blast, which has been in development for 8 years. It's pretty nuts.
I think that's the first time we've seen that number, right? We mentioned on our website the closed beta dates and stuff, but 2009, guys, is when the game entered development. So they've been at this for a while, and the game still is not doing that hot.
I mean, their 2017 business plan is to launch an online version overseas and develop a console version of Blast. So they're still thinking about the console release, but they really got to fix their ship before that happens. And given how much money they've invested, I don't think it's over yet for Blast. I think Game Ago backed out, but give it maybe another 6 months, 8 months. I think we're going to hear about hopefully a definitive, Western release for Blast by then. And maybe they're going with the whole model of, it's okay if the game failed in Korea. If they can pull a Black Desert, even if it didn't do well in Korea, it can still do well in America if it releases with the bug fixes and optimizations. And these investor presentations I always find pretty interesting because, if you don't look at these, you miss out a lot of interesting gaming news. A lot of people don't realize how big of a success of Phantasy Star Online is for Sega. In fact, if you look at Sega's investor presentation, if you didn't look there, you would never know. It's actually Sega's highest grossing game. It's considered one of their most successful games. Phantasy Star Online 2, the one that never came out in America, and the one we did a Grandfest video for it too. But who would have guessed that was such a big moneymaker for Sega? It's only out in a handful of places. Never came out in America, but it's it's big business.
My favorite part about Phantasy Star Online is apparently in Japan, you don't have the same laws about email spam. In America, if you check your email and you get email newsletters and such, you can scroll to the bottom, and there's almost always a little section that says, if you don't like this email, click here to unsubscribe from this email. But to this day, I still get Phantasy Star Online email spam, and there's no way to unsubscribe from it. So that's.
God bless.
I'm very glad I played that Grindfest, so now I can perpetually get Phantasy Star Online newsletters.
What's crazy is why not just release it already? In English. It's so crazy they have this game that's basically ready to go, right? But like, it's insane that it's not out yet. In fact, they could have made the Southeast Asian version, in English as well. Just get rid of that IP block, but they never did, and the Southeast Asian version shut down. If the Southeast Asian version just didn't have IP blocks, I think a lot of people would have played Phantasy Star Online 2 on there. And it seems so silly for the IP block to be there when Sega never gave two shits about the Western release anyway. Look, it's a good game. It runs fluidly. It's a fun title. Like, they just don't want to make free money. It's like the easiest thing in the world. Just don't put the IP block. You just make free money, like more than you would have before.
Well, I think it was Sega that forced that IP block onto the Southeast version. Yeah,
of course.
So I
mean, PlayPark would never do that. The publisher obviously wants to be able to put the game everywhere they can. Sega's like, nope, you got to block America. You got to block Europe because we don't want free money.
Another quick announcement. There was another round. There was some news about Revelation Online server mergers. I know you talked about that in your weekly news thing.
Recap.
Yep. I don't blame them for this, but people are complaining that they're merging servers already. The game is doing badly, but they're merging the server. There's going to be a net loss of one server, and it's because they're launching German and French servers. So they're merging a few servers because they realize that a lot of the current French and German players who are on English servers are probably going to move on to the new servers. So they're merging some of the old servers. So I think there's a net loss of one server overall. No big deal. I don't think it's anything important.
All right, here's the funny thing about Revelation Online. You ready to get bamboozled? You ready to get mind boggled?
I'm ready.
In fact, Chad, are you ready for the most weirdest thing you're going to hear? Revelation Online is resetting all of their server first achievements, so other players get a chance of being server first. How stupid is that?
Even on the...
What's the point?
Really?
What's the point of having a server first achievement if they're just going to reset it and let other people get it too? Like, isn't that the whole purpose of a server first? To like be the guy that camped on launch day to clear a dungeon for anybody else. Oh, we're going to go reset that to give other players a chance to do it as well. What the fuck? Why? It's on certain, and of course it's not fair either because people are already geared up now.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You need to be server first.
Exactly. You can do it day one now. You can.
Yeah. It literally defies logic, and their thought process, they want to give other players a chance to get that achievement. But if you want to make an achievement to like clear that dungeon. Don't make it the whole purpose of a server first. They're literally destroying the meaning. And they said, listen, they're going to be doing it irregular once in a while. So this is not the first time they're going to reset. They plan on resetting it every once in a while, like every 6 months or a year or something.
They should rename it something else then instead of server first.
But this is beyond just merging servers again because they said they'll be doing this from time to time. This is not a one-time event. And their reasoning was they want to give other players a chance to do it. I
think they overreacted because they figured if a server is merged into another one, obviously one of those servers is going to lose out their server first, right? So they said, okay, we got to make it fair and just wipe the whole thing, which was obviously a big mistake. That's not the way to do that.
Just let both of them keep it. Who cares?
Yeah.
If that's the case, if that's the case, I don't think it's a limitation like that either. I mean, odd. Oh, it's so cringy. And they said they're going to do it again. They're going to be doing it, more. Let me see what they said on the official site. And they'll be saying all server first, I believe, on everywhere, not just the servers that are merging. It'll be a rare event. We are looking to make this a recurring yet rare event. That's just so unbelievable that this thing. I don't know what they're thinking. Revelation, what are you guys thinking?
What are you thinking?
I don't know. What are they thinking?
Well, on a brighter note, I do want to mention one more big announcement before we wrap up, and that is, guys, Fortnite is actually happening. I almost forgot about this. This game was one of the first previews we put on the site. God knows how many years ago at this point. Okay, apparently the game was announced 6 years ago in 2011, guys. But finally, there's some movement, and the game is making progress, and it will be out. They're already selling Founders Packs, so they are a lot closer to release. It's going to be on consoles and PC, and it looks pretty cool. I got to say, it looks like a nice little co-op game.
I actually really liked the video showing off for the game. So I wasn't hyped about it, but seeing that video and seeing there's a firm, release date, something we can play soon, I'm excited.
Yeah,
and it's Epic Games. I feel like they kind of know what they're doing too.
To me,
it's a big game studio.
To me, it looks a little like Conan Exiles, right? With the whole like base building, survival aspect. Like apparently you go out and loot, and you go out and explore for resources like material. Then you build a base with your allies, and you survive, waves of enemies. It's instance. There's no like open world or anything. It's like instance, like it's like missions. You jump into a set mission. You gather weapons and loot and material. You build a little fortress and you defend. Yeah, it looks fun. It looks like a nice little fun co-op game. We don't have enough of these like co-op experiences, IMO.
Yeah, I agree. Looks like a fun co-op title. But we have to go back for a moment, okay? Like a Revelation Online, maybe like a mini recap. I feel like it had potential. I hate saying that word too. It had potential, but like it was different, right? It was still a traditional MMORPG, right? Followed a lot of the same formula, like the formulaic look, but because it was Chinese, because being Chinese made it different. Okay, like I don't think it was original if you play a lot of Chinese MMORPGs. You play a lot of games like Perfect World, Jade Dynasty, and whatnot. But like because we haven't had too many big Chinese releases in forever, Revelation was different and different enough to get people interested. But the more you played, the more it was like, what is this? Like this could be so much better. It just felt disjointed. It just felt very weird. I think you looked at a video about cargo cults like a while ago, and I feel like after playing Revelation, like I kind of understand. That's what it feels like. I don't think it's almost like the developers like they looked at World of Warcraft, they looked at Final Fantasy IV, they looked at all these MMORPGs, and like they put something together they thought was an MMORPG, but like it just felt like all these disconnected parts, and they just put it all together, hoping like it'd be fun. And it was different. You could play it for I don't know though. It just I didn't really like it.
No, me neither. I think like you said, that was my first thought. It's the second I played it. It was very Chinese.
Being very Chinese different though. We haven't had so many very Chinese games. I gave it as a positive, honestly, because we haven't had very many Chinese MMORPGs.
I don't know. All I can say is I'm more interested in a lot of the Korean games now than Chinese ones.
Fair. I think we'll be seeing more and more Chinese games coming to the West too. I mean, NetEase and Tencent are such giant companies; they really dwarf like companies like Neowiz. I said earlier, Neowiz is worth like $250 million, and with a smaller size like that, they can only do so many games, right? You have a game like NetEase, the guys that made Revelation, right? I don't think it's their most successful game. It's not even close, right? But NetEase is worth $41 billion. That's worth more than like that's way bigger than EA. That's actually about the same size as Activision Blizzard. So NetEase is churning out tons of games. We showed off that what the other beautiful looking Chinese and more action. It almost looked like Lineage Eternal / Lost Ark. What's that one called? Something Water. I forgot the name of it right now, but that game is coming out in China this year. So I think we're going to see a lot more NetEase and Tencent developed games, I think, coming to the West. Moonlight Blade, I think, is still going to happen in the West eventually. They said their intention of coming to the West. I think we'll have a big wave of Chinese MMORPGs.
I actually got one for you.
Not this year, next year.
I got one for you, actually. There's a game called Legend of the Ancient Sword Online. That's a mouthful.
What? Legend? What kind of game is that?
It's just an MMORPG. It kind of looks like a better version of Jade Dynasty or Moonlight Blade. I'm playing the trailer right now. The trailer looks amazing. The graphics look amazing. But, with these trailers can be kind of misleading. But so here's another one of those, martial arts style MMORPGs for you.
China loves martial arts, guys. And I was thinking Treacherous Waters Online, by the way. Somebody clarify in chat. Aethercane Indie Dude. But other game was Treacherous Waters Online, and we showed a video for that before. I'm looking at this game you're showing now. Chinese love
flying.
Martial arts.
They love flying around.
Flying and martial arts, all right? They have appropriate clothing for the winter weather, obviously. When will they make an ASMR MMORPG Mecha Ranger? Some nice pre-game talk spilling over.
Well, we are nearing the end here. We can talk more about ASMR in the post game because I'm more
curious about that adult product you purchased on the Windows Store? I have no idea what it could be.
Okay, all right. So we can talk about both of those guys. If you want to hear about my adult entertainment purchases on the Windows official 10 store or ASMR sound porn, do stick around for the post game. If you're watching on YouTube, YouTube, you gotta go. You're out of here.
You're out of here.
Take it easy.